in an old movie theater, playing just the scenes from Mission Impossible where Tom Cruise reveals he's been wearing a full face mask of the bad guy. Surprise! Where's the microchip? An elite group of scientists, vibes guys, and the sports media ombudsman, which is a great segment, fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all sports. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for the committee's tears.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, as always, Kevin Wildes, even though you disparaged the greatest film franchise. The greatest film franchise.
No one knows where the microchip
in the
is.
history of American cinema. Actually, there's only one microchip ever.
No one ever knows what anyone is talking about.
Again, KW, I'm sorry that the movies went over your head, but
no one gets it.
Lasted 30 years and a couple $1 billion.
Oh, the identity.
Pretty good. The entity.
The entity.
The entity. No spoilers.
Who's the entity? No one even knows.
I'm kind of with you, Wiles.
Okay. Time now for the tiers. Sad day. For the first time in a few weeks, we have some fresh eliminations.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Eliminated from the tiers. 4 teams had been, we can show it to you. Saints, Titans, Dolphins, Jets were already eliminated. The Raiders.
That was your squad.
Yeah.
Playoff team.
Gee, no.
There's a few of our playoff teams on there. I see the Titans on there, KW. They got eliminated week 1.
None of mine.
The Giants sadly eliminated as well. That Giants game, Brian Daboll, by the way, his rookie year as a coach started 7-2. The 3 years since, 2-7 every year. Probably not the guy. Facing elimination, I'm shocked as anyone that the Browns are still on here, but they are. Browns facing elimination, and the Commanders. That's a tough fall, man. But the Commanders, especially with Jaden out for at least the next month, facing elimination as well. How'd we get here, tier? Falcons, Cowboys, Bengals, Texans, Cardinals. Falcons are the most confusing team in the league in that you see Drake London, you're like, why is he not one of the 2 best receivers in football? Bijan is one of the 2 best running backs in football. Penix is up and down, but they have a defensive coach and a really good secondary, and still they're just mediocre. The Cowboys trade away their franchise defensive player, have a terrible defense, then overpay for a lesser franchise defensive player. The Bengals should know exactly how they got here because it's the exact same playbook as last year. Oddly, without Joe Burrow, the offense still hums again. I'm not saying anything. It's just interesting. The Texans, after back-to-back divisional championships, are now fighting to stay relevant. And the Cardinals started 2-0, lost heartbreaker after heartbreaker, and now bench Kyler Murray. Next, could sneak in Bears, Jags, Vikings, Panthers. The Jags right now are in. If the playoffs started today. Thank God, though, they do not, because if that happened, the Chiefs would be in it, and then it's basketball season in America. The Bears, 5-3, but not in. Vikings, hanging on, and we'll see what JJ, they want to make the playoffs, but they really want us to feel good about JJ McCarthy at the end of the year. And the Panthers, who I read today, I almost don't even want to, they have not won as a favorite in 4 years.
What?
But I also think that's because
are they favorites?
they aren't favorites very often again. And so, but they're 5-4. Again,
they are the worst 5-4 team.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that that's true. There's something.
They got a
it's something, and that
really
that wraps up first things first Panthers coverage for Week 10 of the NFL. Next, KW.
Panthers stuff.
KW.
The Patriots better not be on this
KW
tier.
What is this?
It's not the standings.
Thank you. Not the standings.
Oh.
Niners are 6-3, but they are so injured, and I've been really impressed by them. But at this point, and they just lost their first-round pick to an ACL. These poor guys. And Christian McCaffrey is just the usage, you worry about him. The Broncos are 7-2. Again, I do not believe it. I know they are, and they have an excellent offensive line and a legitimate defense, withstood the loss of Surtain at least for a week. If I am the last man on, the Broncos aren't actually that good ship, so be it, but I don't believe it. And the Chargers, we all know that they just oddly, Joe Alt's the most important offensive lineman since Anthony Munoz, evidently, and he's out for the year. And so I think they're in trouble. Next, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, defensive DNA. and I put that in quote because this applies, Brew, to the Steelers as well as it does to the Ravens, that the defense can't be that bad. It's their culture. It's their DNA. And look, now they didn't have to throw out a PlayStation in order to get better on defense, but they did get better last week, forcing 5 turnovers against Greg's All-American Daniel Jones. And obviously, listen, Lamar is currently one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. Aaron is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, who is having a really nice season. I don't think he's been great. He's obviously not playing at the level Lamar is, but that's champion head coaches, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you think the defenses should get better. All in with quarterback questions. The Packers and the Colts. The Packers, Jordan Love's numbers have been really, really good. The feeling you get watching Jordan Love is not always really, really good. And I know that feels like fuzzy analysis, but there is a level of trepidation that associated with him that I don't think is associated with many of the quarterbacks on the tiers above him. And again, the Colts told us yesterday, they are all in. Both of these teams traded away their next 2 first-round picks for defensive pieces for this season because they believe they can win a championship. I have questions about the quarterback, more Daniel than Jordan, but both of them, that's where they are. KW, you'll like this one. Could be the 1 seed. Legit.
Love it.
The Patriots or the Seahawks could be the number 1 seed.
My God.
Sam Darnold is playing great. Jackson Smith-Njigba looks like a first-team All-Pro. He was a wide receiver on Bruce Bell. That's incredibly rare. They just added Rashid Shaheed, who I really like, and shout out to Shaheed for being able to get out of New Orleans. And the Patriots are a really good team they've had an incredibly easy schedule, and it just gets easier.
Yeah.
And I mean, somehow they have both of their Jets games left, and they ducked the tough version of the Jets, evidently. So both of these teams, and the Seahawks defense has been maybe the most underrated unit across the NFL this year. Definitively dangerous. No matter what Danny Parkins will tell you, the Bucs are for real, and the Bucs' disrespect is baffling to me. They win the division every year. Baker's good in the playoffs every year. They, unlike some other teams, are able to sustain injury, but luckily those guys are slowly but surely coming back, with the exception of Mike Evans, who they probably have to wait until the playoffs. And we know how dangerous the Lions are. I understand it was a bad loss this weekend against Brian Flores and the Vikings, but they're definitively dangerous. Championship caliber, critical stretch. Chiefs and Rams. So the Chiefs are on a bye, and then they are at Denver, home to Indy. That is obviously a must split at least, but really need to go 2-0 to feel like you have any margin of error down the stretch of the season. The Rams right now are not leading the division. The Seahawks are. It's tiebreaker stuff. But they are at the Niners, home for the Seahawks, home for Tampa. That 3-game stretch will likely determine the division, will determine tiebreakers, could determine are you the 1 seed or are you going into week 12 on the outside looking in of the playoffs. That's how jam-packed the NFC is. I believe, obviously, in both of these teams, but they have 7 losses between them. They need to do well during this tough stretch of football. Officially running it back. Eagles said we're not trading A.J. Brown. We're the defending champs. Our quarterbacks turn the ball over, twice all year, once all year?
Once.
Saquon just came off his best game. We added the defense. We're running it back. All of our main characters from last year are here. We're going to try to defend our title coming off a bye. We didn't even play that great the first 8 weeks of the season. We're 6-2. We feel good. And then atop the tiers, for the first time, I believe all year, is this the year? The Buffalo Bills. Now, they did not treat the trade deadline like they thought that they were a piece away. They treated the trade deadline like they thought they have enough. They just beat Kansas City in Buffalo when they were the underdogs. Josh Allen is healthy. They have seemingly faded the devastating injury on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Ed Oliver's tough for them on the defensive side of the ball. And it's the final year of Highmark Stadium. Going to be either the Bills finally get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in more than 30 years. That is the full edition, Greg Jennings, of the committee's tiers.
I'm going to jump right into it. You got the Eagles second, officially running it back. I got them number 1.
Wow.
They should be atop the
that?
tiers. And the reason why I say this is because I love the nameplate, officially running it back. Even with being on the bye week, they won week 9.
Wow.
They got to win week 9 because of what they were doing and what they acquired defensively, the depth that they put on that roster. Love what Howie Roseman does. You talked about the other day, Jerry Jones not having a plan. This is a team that has always had a plan, and they continue to retool and show us why that plan works. The last time we saw this team play, we saw Saquon, we saw that offense, we saw that running game get reestablished. They did not have A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts still threw for 4 touchdowns. They were spreading the ball around. And then you go in week 9, when you're off, players, you take a rest, we're going to still work as management. We're going to improve our roster. We're going to hold on to a guy who we feel we can't win without this year. We'll see what happens in the offseason. But right now, you can't tell me this team isn't the best team in football. And you look at their schedule, it suggests that. When you look at who they've been able to play already and get wins with, the Kansas City Chiefs check that box. The Rams check that box. The Bucs, who you really like, you got them representing the NFC, check that box. And if you keep going down, well, we know who they got Monday night at Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. We'll see what happens there. And you got the team that's ahead of them coming in week 17. We'll see if they check that box. But for right now, with the moves that they have decided to make, yes, they are running it back, but they found who they really are, and they are loving it because they can run the football. Yes, it was against the Giants, a team 2 weeks before they played them last. They could not run the football at all. I like the direction they're going. The fan base is going to be excited. We'll see what they end up doing in the second half of the year.
Yeah, listen, I don't take any major issue with any of what you said. If I have them by themselves in second, you obviously make a case by themselves in first. I guess the one distinction I would make is this. I thought that, so their common opponent, if you will, with Buffalo is Kansas City. The Bills got Kansas City in their building. They got Kansas City on the road.
Correct.
But they faced a Kansas City team that had Worthy and Rice. They faced a Kansas City team without either. And I think the Bills dominated that game more than Philly did. But I'm not really arguing it. Like, you make a strong case. I think right now I think Buffalo's the best team, but it's by the slimmest of margins.
The Buccaneers are a little bit high, but I always pick on the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
and
leave
Danny.
you
You
alone.
guys, you and
I like
you and
Baker,
Danny
but
get
they
by
need
Pirates
to
as a
come
kid
down
or
a little
something.
bit. Nick, for my mainstay in this, I'm eliminating a tier.
What?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame QB's defensive DNA. It's nicely named as always, but I'm moving the Steelers down.
To not the standings.
And I'm moving, the Ravens up. Just one, I'm going to be patient, but I'm moving the Ravens up with the Packers
Wow, you
and
think
the
they
Colts.
have quarterback questions. Wow, what a shot.
Well, no, the titles don't match.
Wow.
The titles
What
don't
a
match.
shot at Lamar.
I'm looking at, the titles are always great,
Okay.
but I'm saying, I'm just looking at the tiers themselves. Pittsburgh, the defense, unlike the Ravens, their defense has not strung together a few, impressive performances in a row. So I'm not sure if the defense is back. You are right. It is their culture.
Yep.
You would think it'll come back. It clearly did this last week, but I'm still iffy on that. They don't have the run game, and Rodgers is playing good, efficient football, but not really explosive football. So I think there's a ceiling. I would drop them with the Niners and those teams. And the Ravens, I'm moving up. The offense is just, with Lamar, it opens up things for Derrick Henry. He's going to probably be much better second half of the season because of Lamar's presence. And the defense, like I said, is getting better. I like the addition of Draymond Jones. He's not phenomenal. Nobody's going to act like that. But 4.5 sacks in his last 4 games. He's on pace for a career high. And they only have 11 in 8 games all season. So him doing anything in terms of pass rush will help them. I think their defensive backfield is pretty good if they get any type of pressure. They haven't been bad when they, if they get pressure, I think they'll be good. So Ravens are on the rise, Steelers sinking. So I'm going to switch over.
Here's the problem for me with that. It's less about your commentary on the Ravens and it's more about the kind of disrespect of Pittsburgh. Because it's not the standings, but Pittsburgh has some really good wins this
yep.
year. Baltimore has beaten the Browns, who are on the brink of elimination, the Dolphins, who have been eliminated, and the Bears, who are not on this part of the, this high up on the tier.
Impressive though without Lamar.
Absolutely. The Steelers beat the Patriots. I know Wilds doesn't like how they beat the Patriots, but they beat the Patriots. And then
they forced them to cough the ball.
And then beat the Colts in a similar fashion. That we also now, with the Steelers at 5-3, and we might get into this some and must win, it doesn't feel like Tomlin's streak of winning seasons is going to end or not finishing below 500. And that might force Baltimore to get to 10 wins, which at 3-5 could be a tough road to hoe, so to speak.
7-2, that's very doable though.
It sounds doable. I think it could be real tough. And so I think the Steelers this last week earned their place. Go ahead, Katie.
There's a lot of studies that say people in your vicinity have a real effect on your own personality and opinions. They say if you take like your 10 friends, closest friends, and you see how much money they make, you'll make right in the middle. And that you're more likely to have the same political opinions as people that live close to you. Romantically, you fall in love, you get married to people that are around you, went to school with or in the same town. Even though the world's got billions of people in it, maybe your true love lives somewhere else, but you'll probably get married to somebody in your town or whatever. I feel like that also pertains to sports opinions. For example, my kids are growing up in New York. They've only been to Massachusetts a handful of times, yet I've turned them into Patriots fans and Red Sox fans. You don't believe in Bo Nix. So when I'm watching Broncos games, I'm like, I don't believe in Bo Nix. I'm like, hold on a second. The Broncos are pretty good. I don't even have a formed opinion on Bo Nix. I've just sat next to you for years telling me Bo Nix is not good. I looked at it like, maybe Bo Nix is good. Maybe it's just I'm being informed by someone sitting near me. The Broncos are actually good. So they're at home. They've won 9 in a row. The best home team or the hottest home team in the NFL. Broncos, Colts, and then the Chiefs. Chiefs only won 4. Broncos won 9. Defense, I'm the guy that says defense wins championships. We all like Pat Surtain. Defense is fantastic.
Defense is fantastic.
So defense wins championships, and they were great at home, and they're gonna, they're in first place. All these things are lining up, and then finally it comes down to Bo Nix, who, even if you think he's pretty good,
no, his fourth quarter's been excellent.
Dude's been on fire. So just keep the game close, and then in the fourth quarter, this guy wins the game, and the defense will keep the. I'm like, what the heck? I like the Broncos all of a sudden. So move the Broncos up. You've been tricking me this whole time, and I know it's just a study. It's not your fault.
Listen, you know what's crazy about that?
What?
I've been sitting next to you just as long as you've been sitting next to me, and never once
you don't think defense
has one of your opinions made me believe something.
Okay,
never
let
one
something
time
go wrong in Houston. What are you going to be saying?
So,
no problem.
I before the year on this show had a very confusing take, if you will, which was I thought the Broncos were going to finish below 500 and miss the playoffs and start 6-2, because I believed that the second half of their schedule was going to beat them up. Now, part of that math was I thought they wouldn't get to 7-2, they'd lose to Houston. Every week I watch the Broncos and I'm like, all right, maybe they're going to prove me wrong. And every week I watch the whole game and I'm like, nope, that team stinks, and then they win. And this week and stinks is too strong. I don't think the team stinks because the defense is obviously excellent. Offensive line is really good. But I watched that Texans game, and it's 13-13 against Davis Mills, and I'm not filled with confidence. Then Bo Nix did have his fourth quarter scramble, and they get in field goal range. I will have to, our old friend Mark Schlereth, he has me on his radio show all the time. They make fun of me. They yell at me. They throw pies in my face, metaphorically. We'll see. I think the Broncos are due to have a regression to the mean on this fourth quarter stuff. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
But when is it going to happen? The Chiefs?
Well, obviously.
Okay. They got 2 against the Raiders.
Yeah. No, at this point, they are a huge favorite to make the playoffs. I no longer think, because part of me thinking they were going to have the second half swoon was I thought the 2 Raider games were going to be tough. Turns out those games probably, I mean, again, Geno could get going, but probably not that tough. But I think they're going to go 0-2 against Kansas City.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.